Hey, it's Dark Soldier SC2 here, and I will be recording my first YouTube video here. And so this is going to be a game on Metalopolis between GLSnute and Strange. So over here in the 9 o'clock base, we have Strange spawning as our red Protoss, and over here in the 3 o'clock base, we have Snute spawning as our blue Zerg. So some things to note about this map and their spawning positions is that they're going to be expanding closer to each other. We see that as each player's expansions progress, they'll be getting closer and closer and closer to the other player's main. So that's just something to keep in mind here. If they were close by air, they'd be expanding further away from each other, so it would make it harder to harass the expansions as more come up. So what we're going to be looking for here from Snute in the beginning of the game is what kind of build is he going to be going? Is he going to be going hatch first, or 14 spawning pool and then 16 or 21 hatch? Or would he do something weird like a 14 gas, 14 pool? Now if we look at the Protoss player for now, we see that he opted not to go Forge Fast Expand, which I agree with. It takes a lot of skill and some luck to pull off a Forge Fast Expand with this huge choke. So we see he is going Gateway first at 12 supply. And if we look back at Snoot's base, we see he is at 15 supply with about 200 minerals, and he does opt to throw down a spawning pool right there. So he's probably going to be looking to throw down a hatch at 16, but with players of such skill, Strange will definitely not let that go down. Look back at Strange base, we did see he took a normal gas timing, still chrono boosting probes, so not looking like a 4-gate or anything like that. And I would expect Snoot to just, send down a drone to harass that probe right about now, which he is. Now, I'm interested to see whether Strange is going to opt to throw down a pylon or not, and then after that a cybernetics core or something like that. He does throw down the pylon, so that's going to force Snoot to make 2 sets of Zerglings in addition to his queen once that spawning pool pops. See that in a second. And there's the 2 sets of Zerglings. So after this, Strange also has the option to throw down a cybernetics core or just chill with that probe there. So he didn't want to lose the 75 minerals of letting that pylon finish. So he's just poking around a little bit. He does get the pylon down, but he does lose that probe. And at such high levels, every single unit's pretty important. We see Snoot is starting to whack away at that pylon right now with 4 Zerglings and 1 drone, so that's going to go down pretty quickly. He's finally gotten to get his expansion down, but a lot later than he would have liked to. At about 23 supply, he gets it down. So I would expect Snoot to take some gas relatively soon. If we look back in Strange's base, we see he is moving up to 2 gas himself. This cybernetic score just finished, and he's probably going to start pumping out sentries pretty soon here. Oh, he opts to go Stalker first. That's pretty interesting. Usually when players are doing something like a 1 or 3 gate expand, they like to get a sentry first so they can get force fields to hold off any kind of pressure from a Zerg. But we see he did opt to get Stalker, and because the Zerg is not going gas first, that Stalker is going to have free reign over the map until the Zerg gets Zergling speed up. And I really like it when Protoss players do that. I think it's unusual, but I really like it. So we see after that Stalker, he is throwing out a sentry. Interesting to see if he pokes out with the Stalker a little bit, because he's not in any real danger, because all that's on the map is slow lings, and he knows that because he didn't scout any gas from the Zerg. So we see Snoot does have his gas up now. He's probably going to mine that to 100 gas so he can get metabolic boost for his Zerglings, but we do see Snoot throwing down an Evo chamber, and I know Snoot does like quick Evo chambers sometimes, but this is 5-minute mark Evo chambers, pretty unheard of. So he's might be going for some kind of hard timing. I'm not sure yet. We'll have to see. I know that Snoot does tend to go Ling Bane Ling Muta in this matchup, so I'm definitely expecting +1 melee attacks, or possibly +1 carapace once this pops. He does opt to get +1 melee attacks before Ling Speed, which is another very interesting choice from Snoot. We see his opponent is going with a 3-gate expansion, which is the safest quick expansion you can get as a Protoss player on this map. Back to Snoot's base, we see he doesn't have too many drones. He's around 30, about as high as he could get right now. I expect him to keep droning for a while now. We see all that's coming now is drones and overlords, in addition to that +1 melee attacks. We see he's moving up to 2 gas now, which is pretty interesting. I'm not sure what he's going to do with these gases, with this second gas, because I would have just expected him to mine this gas for 100 more so we can get to metabolic boosts. He's still off 2 gas right now after metabolic boost, so I'll be interested to see what he does here. We see Snute producing more drones. No Zerglings yet, because you can see that the Protoss is not applying any pressure. So any Zerglings he makes is just a loss of economy. We see Snute is taking a quick third here, which I'm not sure how safe that is. We'll have to see how it plays out. I usually only like really quick thirds against Forge Fast Expand. Although it's not the quickest third. Against Forge Fast Expand, you can take like a 6-minute third. So we see Snute now moving up to 3 gases, has his layer started, so he might be going with some sort of quick mutal play here, or possibly drops or infestors, but something that requires a lot of gas. We see he's now throwing down a Baneling nest, so he's probably going to be going for that standard Ling Baneling Muta with drops composition. See, his +1 melee is almost finished. I'll be interested to see how Lair has 40 seconds left. This has 20 seconds left. So I'll be interested to see if he gets Carapace after this or waits for the +1 melee, +2 for the Lair so we can get +2 layer attacks. +2 melee attacks, excuse me. So we see Metabolic Boost just finishing up here from Snute. If we look at the Protoss's base, we see his +1 attacks is getting to the point where it's about to finish up. Now, our Protoss player doesn't have much in the works now in terms of tech. He has to land that robotics facility, but we're not sure what he's going to do yet. We do see GLSnute pushing out with these Zerglings. The Protoss player is going to be able to see that these Zerglings have +1 melee attacks here, so that will set him off to some kind of Ling Baneling Muta play, if he didn't already know that. We see the Protoss player scouting around with his Phoenix, so he did know that there's some kind of Baneling play coming in. Snute now throwing down Overlord drops, which is a pretty interesting play to go Overlord drops this quickly. We see Snute poking around with these Zerglings. Not a whole lot of risk here from Snute, looking to see if the Protoss has a third, or when he throws it up. Protoss getting a little bit antsy to move out here. The Robo is just finished. It goes Observer first. Definitely a safe build. We see Snute spreading out his Overlords well, so any kind of Warp Prism play would not go undetected. Snute's Creep Spread also being very good this game. At the 10-minute mark, he has Creep heading towards his opponent's side of the map. Snute is he's on 4 gas right now, and so he's going to start gaining gas very, very quickly, so he's going to have to go down some sort of tech route if he doesn't want to be stockpiling an awful lot of gas. We see Snute has 46 Zerglings on the field right now, and so that's really going to be able to deny his opponent's third base. 1 Zealot, 2 Stalkers, and 5 Sentries, now 6 Stalkers, is not going to be able to handle that kind of Zergling pressure. So Snute does have this Zergling here, and I expect this Overlord to start spreading creep, so he's going to deny that expansion for a long time with this many units. Especially if he does some kind of 2-pronged attack where he drops while taking down that third. We see Snute has chosen Spire as tech path, so Snute really does like that Link Baneling Muta kind of play. We see he is also opting to get Baneling speed pretty quickly. Now, I would expect Snute to take a 4th here. He's pretty far ahead. He's up by about 30 supply, but that's nothing that a Protoss can't come back from. This Protoss is just sitting in his base. He's tacking towards Colossus. I really think he needs a 3rd soon here. As a Protoss player, it's always a good goal to try and match a Zerg's bases. But if you're behind one base, that's fine. That's not an issue. But it's always good if you're tied. And especially in a position like this. Oh, we see Snute going for a very large job. That's 10 Banelings right there and a whole lot of Zerglings. If we look inside Strange's base, he is somewhat defended, but I don't think it's going to be adequate. We see he's starting to work towards taking that 3rd. He's going to have to wait for that creep to recede, though. Snute, yet to throw down any Mutalis, which I find pretty interesting. He hasn't even started any upgrades from there. Snute now starting with that +1 Carapace upgrade, and he already does have... +2 Carapace, excuse me. He does have +2 attack as well already. Now, Snute going with an incredibly large job. That's 10 full Overlords. Excuse me, 9. So that's a lot of units in there. That's nothing that 6-7 Stalkers, 1 Cannon can deal with. So here comes the drops. If he does get Banelings on top of this army, it will be deadly, especially to the Morphing In Stalkers. And here come the Banelings taking out so much of the Protoss's army. If we look at the supply, Snute's skyrocketing ahead. Banelings going for the probe line, but probes do retreat quickly. We see the sentries are coming up here. He does have a Colossus out, so this won't be a killing blow. I think it's going to come down to the force fields. The probe's getting in the way there, and I feel like Strange is taking a lot of unnecessary damage from this drop. Maybe he fears that there's still some Banelings inside of these Overlords, which there isn't. And we see Snute now just going to load up and get out of there. Now I think Snute saw the Colossus tech there, but I don't think that's anything he has to react to. The Protoss player yet to take a third though, and if we look at the supply count right now, Snute is 80 supply ahead. His playstyle is just so great. We see Snute is 161 Zerglings right now. He has yet to make any Mutalisks, but he does have enough gas to make a large flock of Mutalisks whenever he feels like it. He is taking bases 4 and 4 right now. Excuse me, thought that was a base. And he is working towards hive tech. So Snute with a commanding lead right now. This Protoss is going to need some kind of miracle to get back in it. The Protoss is throwing down more photon cannons in his base for fear of drops, which are coming. Snute morphing in an awful lot of bandings to take out this Protoss. Now, something that kind of concerns me about Snute's play right now is he is floating 1,700 minerals. So he did build a Spire, and I thought that was going to be the purpose of 6 gas. But now he's working towards Infestor Tech, and if his opponent had dealt with his pressure better, I think Snute might not be in the best position here, because it's not good to be floating that many resources. We do see he did lower his mineral count significantly there, but he's still floating 2,000 gas. I really think that's kind of sloppy play from Snute there. Snute Hive Tech just about to finish up, working on pathogen glands for his infestors. The Stalkers do blink up though, and they're starting to take out the Overlords before they unload, but they do unload, but none of the banelings connect as they're unloading. There's an awful lot of units in this Protoss's base now, and he's going to drop the units onto the photon cannons now, but the Colossus is in there, and he's just racking up the kills. We see Snute kind of retreating to the back of Strange's base with some of his units, and I'm not quite sure why. He is baneling dropping on the probe count, though. If we go to the Workers Lost tab, we see that Snute has killed 34 workers so far, and I feel like a lot of that came from that drop right there. Go to the Units tab, we see that, Strange is down to 22 probes to the 67 drones of Snute. In addition, Snute is now up by almost 100 supply. That's almost impossible for a Protoss to come back from. We see Snute not yet throwing down any mutas, but he is working on +3/+3 and the metabolic boost. That did use up a decent chunk of his gas. He's still at around 1800 though. Snute, not the most cost-efficient drop right there. That Colossus has 51 kills, which is pretty amazing. Snute just sitting here with his army denying the Protoss's third, which I really like. Now, if Snute wanted to, I think he'd be safe enough to just run all these banelings into the Protoss's natural base, killing it. We'll have to see though. He's just so far ahead right now. We see Snute now is taking that 5th base right there. He's working towards Ultralist Tech, which will benefit so much from this +3/+3 that he got for his Zerglings. We see Snute moving in with his army. He could drop the Banelings on top of these Stalkers, which have no blink. The Baneling drops do go down, and the Protoss army just disintegrates under them. Snute, not as much of a supply lead as he had before, but still, the Protoss army is gone. And if we look at the workers killed, Snute just had a great baneling drop, now up to 61 workers killed. The Protoss's economy is shattered. The Protoss has 9 probes right now, no third base at the 18-minute mark versus Zerg, who's on 5 bases. 3 mining bases, really. We see Snute has that chitinous plating going down for those overlords right now with 4 overlords incoming, ultralisks. And I just don't see the Protoss player holding off against these ultralisks. If we go to the units tab, we see he has 10 stalkers, 3 colossus. And I feel like any amount of ultralisks will just tear through that army with ease. See Snute falling down to 149 supply here, but that's still up against the 51 supply of the Protoss player. With the 100 supply lead, I feel like Snute has a pretty significant advantage. Going in for more harass here, and this attack from the Protoss has to kill Snute, but I just don't see it happening. Snute's army is so menacing now with those 4 ultralisks that the Protoss player can't win without a miracle. So these 2/2 ultralisks, almost 3/3, are going to charge into this army along with these lings from the back and these banelings from the front. And with this great engagement that Snute's going to have, I don't see the Protoss player coming up on top, especially when he's engaging on creep like this. The Zerg player does get the flank. Here come the banelings. The Protoss player has to get a blink off. He does get a blink off. Avoids a lot of those banelings, but one of the Colossus goes down. All these Stalkers are going to go down to these Ultralisks very quickly, and then there's one Colossus left. And Strange leaves without a GG. So, this was my first cast on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed it. Pretty close, not a close game right here. Snute just slaughtered his opponent. Anyways, thanks for watching. This has been Dark Soldier SE2, and don't forget to subscribe.